What's up, superstars? This is David RDW here, and I am so hyped to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal that actually happened this morning. It is January 16th, 2025. Same day that Donkey Kong Country Returns HD dropped, but Nintendo said, screw that. Happy for whoever's happy for that, but bigger news. Nintendo Switch 2 has officially been revealed. This is awesome. I also have a reaction video on my channel as well, so check that out. Also, because I have a whole bunch of thoughts that go through my head as I'm watching that trailer. But now that we have finally watched it, I have now looked over it, and there are 13 things that I want to go through with you guys that we now know about the Switch 2 based on that reveal trailer. So, let's get into it. First thing, it's noticeably bigger. That's like the thing they emphasized immediately as soon as the trailer started. It just shows, it starts off with a regular Nintendo Switch, and then it just grows. It just grows. The screen itself, it gets bigger, but we also know the screen is the console. So definitely we're going to have a bigger Nintendo Switch this time around. That is really awesome because we previously had the Nintendo Switch OLED, which had a bigger screen, mostly because we pushed back the bezel a little bit. So we went from a 6.2 inch screen to a 7-inch screen for the OLED. So I'm assuming that the Switch 2 might be an 8-inch screen, maybe between 8 and 8.5 inches. We'll see. But it definitely is going to be bigger. I'm pretty sure someone might have leaked some specs at some point. I haven't been paying attention to leaks at all, so this is all just going off of my own personal dome. I don't know anything specific about any dimensions or anything. But just going off of what we can see, off that visual enhancement there, it does look like it's going to probably be an 8-inch screen if I had to take a guess at how big that screen's going to be. Number 2. This thing looks like it's going to also be slightly thinner as well. There was a visual in the trailer where it looked like it was shaving off a little bit of a layer of the console, like right off the top. It looked like it's probably going to be a little bit thinner than the original Nintendo Switch and the OLED as well. I think that's what that visual was probably symbolizing there. It might be a very minimal change in terms of the screen size. It might be something like how Apple shaves off maybe like a couple millimeters off of the shape of like an iPad or a phone. It'll probably be like the regular Nintendo Switch is like so many centimeters thick or whatever, and they shaved off maybe like this one's like 15-20% thinner or something like that. They'll probably do something similar. So it definitely does look thinner. So I think that's the second thing we could probably write down there. So what do you guys think? Comment down below. Let me know. Number 3, there is a Type-C port on the bottom of the Switch. We already know that because that's where it docks. But there's a new spot that they revealed on the top near the headphone port, the headphone jack, where there's also now an additional Type-C port. We don't know what this is for, but we now know that visually we can distinct the two Switches from each other because there is a Type-C port on the top of the console as well. What's that going to be for? We will see. Some people are saying it could be some type of secondary option to dock it, maybe, because some people had certain orientations where they couldn't put it down straight down. Maybe you could also put it on the top. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but a Type-C port definitely is a big get. Number 4, new kickstand. It looks very similar to the OLED's kickstand as the kickstand angles that you can have your Switch at, so it's not just one locked angle like the first generation of Nintendo Switch. They changed that with the OLED. Was a lot better. So this one looks like it is pretty much taking the same general idea, but they are, instead of making it one big flap that's like the size of my hand here, it is now one specific hinge on the back of the Switch. This looks a lot cleaner, so definitely looking forward to seeing how people utilize that in the design. Number 5, this is going to be a big one because there's a lot of different parts in here. We're going to just talk about the Joy-Cons, specifically about the Joy-Cons, because the Joy-Cons honestly are one of the biggest selling points of the Nintendo Switch. Other than it being a portable console, the fact that it is portable is enhanced by the fact that the Joy-Cons are so small, so easily removable off of the Nintendo Switch. You just snap them on, and that's just the whole thing. That's like the biggest draw with the Nintendo Switch. They're in the damn logo. The Joy-Cons couldn't go anywhere. We already know the Joy-Cons weren't going anywhere. So, first off, the Joy-Cons are bigger to match the console size. That's great. I have big, meaty claws. I need bigger Joy-Cons. That's been a thing with me and other like-minded, big-hand people since the Switch first dropped. Bigger Joy-Cons make for bigger people being happy. There's a new Actually, bigger size, the colors have been inversed. So at least from what we can see in this trailer, it does look like the colors are going to be inversed on launch in terms of the first wave of these new Joy-Cons. So usually it's light blue, light pink, or light red, and then the rail of the Joy-Con themselves were black, and then like the emphasis colors were black. But now it looks like the rail and then also the inside of the seat of the control sticks are also going to be highlighted with those emphasis colors. So they inverse the colors. There's a new button on the right Joy-Con. The right Joy-Con has the home button traditionally, and then the left Joy-Con has the screenshot button, which is a great button. But now we have a new button underneath the home button on the right Joy-Con. It's not labeled. We don't know what it's for. Who knows what that could possibly be. I doubt they'll put another screenshot button on the right Joy-Con, although playing with a Joy-Con singularly and not having a screenshot button was a thing that I personally had an issue with. I don't know if they're going to put a screenshot button on that one, but it could just be a whole new button in general. We'll see. What else? They snap directly to the sides of the Switch now. They don't slide down like they did with the OG and the OLED Switch. Now they snap directly to the sides, or they clack to the sides of the Switch because now there's an opening or like a spot, basically like kind of like a little spot on the side rail of the Joy-Con. So instead of sliding in, now they both just snap directly onto the sides of the Switch themselves. There's also a new trigger. There's a new button, not just on the right Joy-Con, but on both Joy-Con. Looks like the ZL and ZR buttons are the same spot, like traditional triggers. But now there's a third trigger on the very back of the Joy-Con as well. That looks like that could possibly be an adaptable trigger that's similar to how a lot of like handheld PCs and also a lot of third-party controllers, they've been putting a third trigger on the back. So in case gamers want to have a third option or basically do whatever they want with that extra trigger, I think that's what that might be. Since Nintendo already has it where you can map your Joy-Con controllers to a specific customized way, that might actually open up things to players being able to adjust their controls a little bit more specifically. So we'll see, but that does look like what that could be, an adaptable trigger of some type. And then last thing here, this is really cool. Looks like these might have mouse support for gyro. So big thing with the Joy-Con already is the motion controls. It's like some of the best out there with the HD rumble and things like that on the gyro. But it does look like the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con for the 2, they do have something that looks similar to how it looks on this mouse right here. You see this little spot right here where like the infrared or whatever sensor is inside of a mouse, or you slide it along a table or a surface for like mouse control. It does look like that might have been what they were showing off for a little bit in the trailer. At first I couldn't really identify what that was until I looked on Blue Sky and I saw people mentioning, oh, this looks like this could be mouse support. Then I got a better look. That does look like a mouse sensor on the side rails of the Joy-Con controllers for the 2. So that probably is going to be a deal what we get with that. Are we going to get a Splatoon 4 within the first month, like first year of launch of the Switch 2? That'd be kind of cool. Things kind of wrapped up. We're pretty much wrapping up things on the Splatoon 3 side of things. So if we went into the Switch 2's life with a fresh Splatoon, that'd be kind of cracked, honestly. And having those enhanced Joy-Con or gyro controls with the mouse control, that'd be pretty sick. So that's awesome. And then last thing for the Joy-Cons as well, we do have new grips because you have to have something to put a wrist strap on, just like with the first Switch and the Wii remotes before that. When you're playing games with motion controls, you gotta have a wrist strap. So instead, since these don't slide on like the original ones, they also look like they snap on or clack on with the new rails. So new triggers, mouse controls, and new grips. So definitely even easier to remove. I remember people were getting stuck with the grips on the Joy-Con, and the first one, like you put one on the wrong Joy-Con, then it's hard to remove it. So that seems like that one might be what they're doing there. So let's see. Next up, this one is something I just noticed personally. It does look like we are going to get, um, we have a new sound. We have a new sound with the Nintendo Switch 2. If you listen to the difference here, it is a little bit more of like a deeper sound. It's not as high pitched as the Switch click from the first Switch. This one is more like the first Switch click sounded more like a light switch. This sounds more like a clacker that a director would use on like a set, like a clacker board. It sounds like one of those. It's not as much as a snap or a click of a switch. It's more like a snap or a clack of a clacker board. That's what it sounds like to me. So they definitely didn't just added to on the logo and kept the same sound. They also changed the noise too, so I think that's really interesting. Let's see here. We have our first game revealed for the Nintendo Switch 2. The first ever game that we've seen running on the console, at least in some capacity, is a new Mario Kart. Is it Mario Kart 9? Is it going to be Mario Kart something other, whatever? It doesn't look like a double dash situation. We don't have two characters on one cart. We do have just a new Mario Kart. It's very, it was basically something where Mario Kart looks as good as Mario Kart's ever going to look now. It just looks great regardless. But with the visuals, you can kind of tell Mario looks a little bit different than he does in Mario Kart 8 and this new version of Mario Kart. Also, DK, people have been pointing out DK looks dramatically different. He looks more like how he looked in his, I guess, Super Mario Brothers movie concept design rather than his current design. So I guess they're differentiating that a little bit more as well, probably to go along with that generation or this iteration of the Mario franchise as well. So that's cool. New Mario Kart's on there. Also, one thing that I haven't seen anyone mention, there's more than 12 racers on that track. Count them. At the end of that scene, when they're all driving down the road, there's at least, I counted 18. So there might be 20 racers per race, or more, who knows, but there's definitely more than 12 racers on that track that we saw in the new Mario Kart trailer, or the new Mario Kart teaser, rather. So that's cool. Big thing here as well, new Joycon Grip to go with the Joy-Cons as well. So usually at the box you get the two Joy-Cons, and then you get the Grip, which is basically a controller base that you can then snap your Joy-Con into. So you have a new one of those. Obviously, you got to have one to go with your Switch in case you don't get a Pro controller or anything like that. So new Joy-Con Grip, new dock, a new Nintendo Switch dock. This one has a more rounded design, or a rounded build on the top. They've kind of gotten a little more rounded as the Switch has gone, because the first one was just straight up a rectangle. The Switch OLED had more of a kind of rounded design as well, especially in the back. But this one just straight up has like a rounded rectangle design on the top of it as well. We didn't see the sides of the dock, we didn't see the back of the dock, but we just know that the dock looks dramatically different because it looks a lot more rounded in its design. So new dock, so that's cool. This is a big one as well. The Switch 2 can play Nintendo Switch games physically and digitally. So the Switch 2 can play OG Switch games digitally and physically. However, there are certain games that won't be fully supported or compatible with the Switch 2. What I think that means is pretty much all the main games will be compatible with the Switch 2. So Mario Odyssey, pretty much every Mario game that's ever come out on the Switch, those are compatible. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, compatible. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, compatible. All that, right? That'll work fine with your Nintendo Switch 2. The games that won't work, I think, will probably be the more gimmicky games that specifically worked with the Nintendo Switch 1's hardware. So probably the Switch 1-2 Switch. 1-2 Switch might not work with the Switch 2 because I don't know. We don't really know if the Switch 2 will support OG Switch Joy-Cons, but I feel like 1-2 Switch might be one of those games that they probably might not be fully compatible with or supported by the Switch 2. Ring Fit Adventure might not be compatible with the Switch 2 because you need to have the Joy-Con for the OG Switch on the Ring-Con controller. So I don't think that Ring Fit Adventure will work with the Switch 2. Nintendo Labo. Nintendo hasn't said shit about the Labo in years, but in case you end up coming across Labo with your Switch 2, I don't think you'll be able to use your Nintendo Labo with your Switch 2 because the dimensions of the controller will be different. So Labo will not be supported. Mario Kart Live might not be supported. That's the one where you basically can remote control Mario Kart, Luigi, or Mario, and it was like augmented reality Nintendo Switch game. I don't think that's going to be supported by the Switch 2. Pretty much those main four, I don't think those are... I think those might be the only ones that won't be compatible with the Switch 2. Everything else, all the other main games that we love, anything that you can think of off the top of your head, I think those will be supported. I just think it's going to be those 4 games. Let's see. This is awesome. In terms of future information, we will get a Switch 2 Direct April 2nd, 2024. Well, 2025. April 2nd, 2025, we will get a Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. So that's probably going to be just the straight up all the information, right? Like the UI, the features, how the games work, what the cartridges look like, the pricing, the initial launch lineup, when it's launching, things like that. Every question that we have from here to then is going to be answered on April 2nd, which is a Wednesday. So I'm going to have to call off work that day because I work on Wednesdays. So we're probably going to have to lock in on April 2nd, 2025. That's going to be sick. Let's see. Next, we have the Nintendo Switch 2 Experience is going to be coming back. So if you remember, back when the Nintendo Switch initially launched, Nintendo had in multiple states and multiple event venues across the country, there were opportunities to get your hands on the Nintendo Switch before it launched. It was a one-day thing. It was limited entry. So it's basically show up early as hell and you will get in. However, I just barely missed the door. If you go back, comment RDW, this was like 2017. We barely missed the door. It was only one day. It sucked. But now they have 3 different opportunities to play the Switch 2 via these Nintendo Switch Experience events. One will be in New York on the 4th through the 6th, which is literally the weekend after the Switch 2 gets revealed. So that's awesome. It'll be at the New York Center 415. And then it'll be on April 11th through the 13th, which is basically the following weekend. It'll be in LA at Television City, and then it'll also be on the next weekend after that. So basically 3 weekends in a row. All of April is just going to be them hyping up the Switch 2. So if this is the case, I have to guess that we're going to get the Switch 2 in May. We're going to get the Switch 2 in May or possibly early June. Because they're going to probably use all of April to basically promote and hype up the Switch 2 with these events. You're going to start seeing people posting videos. Press is going to start getting their hands on the thing in April. They're probably going to drop it in May or early June, something like that. But Dallas is going to get it on April 25th through the 27th. So 3 days, 9 different opportunities to play the Switch 2 before it launches. At least that's what I'm assuming it's going to be before it launches. And that's awesome. So anyone that's in those places, those tickets are also going to be going on sale, or rather, those tickets will be available to register to get access to those events on the 17th, which is literally the day after I'm recording this video, on January 17th. So if you see this video and you didn't even know about it, you most likely don't have a ticket. You're not going to get in. Don't even worry about it, because I'm pretty sure these are going to sell out and these are going to be booked at max capacity immediately. There's no way that these aren't going to cap immediately. People are going to be so thirsty to get their hands on the Nintendo Switch 2. It's going to be sick. I can't wait. What about you guys? Comment down below. What are you most excited about the Switch 2? What feature, what thing have you noticed in this preview trailer that has you hyped up? I'm so ready. I'm so ready to not hear Nintendo fans shut up all year, because I am also a Nintendo fan. I am not going to shut up about this all year. April is not far away, but it feels far away. There's a lot of cool games coming out in between now and then to keep me occupied. But man, it's gonna be cool. I can't wait to see what this is gonna end up being. It's sick. I can't wait, dude. So that's all I got, superstars. This is David RDW, and I'll catch you on the next video. Later.